I'll just introduce myself. My name is Miljan. I am the founder of Primal, and I'm here to talk about Nostr today. Wow. Lots of Nostr fans in the audience. That's actually more than I expected, to be honest. This being a Bitcoin conference, I was just wondering how many people are actually on Nostr today, if we can have a show of hands. Whoa, way more than I thought. Maybe like 60, 70%. That's great. Let's see if we can move the needle a little bit on the remaining 40% or so and get them to take another look. It's funny because when I speak to Bitcoiners about Nostr, I often, and especially those who are not on Nostr, I often hear, "Oh, I'm not really into social media," and that's fine. Neither am I, actually. But here we are. So as you will see, Nostr is much more than a decentralized social media protocol. It's much more than that. It's much more profound in its nature, and it will have far-reaching consequences, in my opinion. So maybe we should start by defining what Nostr actually is. So just like Bitcoin, Nostr is a protocol. Where Bitcoin is a protocol for money, Nostr is a protocol for speech. And just like Bitcoin, Nostr is largely misunderstood in its kind of early years. Like I said, most people who have heard of it think of it as just another decentralized social media platform. And that's not the case. So much like Bitcoin, Nostr usually requires multiple touch points for people to kind of grok it. Certainly happened to me. First time I encountered it, I kind of just wrote it off. I thought this was utterly uninteresting and had no real chance of succeeding. And just like Bitcoin, I think it has a potential to change everything, to change the way we communicate, to change the way we publish information online, and also to change the entire incentive structure of the web. One of the cheat codes, one of the reasons why it has the ability to do that is that it has an attached monetary network in the form of Bitcoin. So let's go over a few core concepts of Nostr. How does Nostr actually work? So one of the key strengths of Nostr is that it's so simple that anyone can really understand the protocol kind of when you explain it at the high level. There's three core concepts. Concept number one is every user gets a key pair. So you get your private key, your public key, you're visible on the network using your public key, and you get full control over your identity or over the content you publish, and you get full sovereignty over your profile using your private key. So in that respect, we also have another parallel to Bitcoin, where essentially holding that key gives you the entire power over your account on Nostr. The second concept is that we use client apps to create content, sign them with our private key. That way, everyone on the network knows that the content came from us. And the content is then published onto a set of relays, which is the third and final concept. So that's it. It's that simple. You essentially hold your key, you use a client app, you create some content, you sign it, and you send it to a set of relays. It's important that we're talking about the set of relays, so not one relay. The users can have any number of relays configured, a dozen relays, couple dozen relays. You can change your relay configurations, and all of your content is replicated automatically on all of the relays that you post to. So that's the entirety of the protocol. The rest of it has to do with the format of the messages that you're creating and signing. And as long as you can understand the format of those messages as a client or a relay or anybody else who participates in this, you are on Nostr. The key here is that anyone can create a key pair, anyone can run a client app, anyone can build client apps, anyone can run a relay, and anyone can build relay software. There are no gatekeepers. You can literally do whatever you want. So once you open things up this way, and once you come up with a protocol that's a specification that's so simple, what happens? What happens next? This happens. You have the entire ecosystem of products and services that has sprouted without any central control, without any coordination. It's just humans doing what's in their own best interest, creating, participating, communicating with each other, creating products and services that are hopefully useful to others. This list is not exhaustive by any stretch. I kind of had to pare it down. We have hundreds of products and services that exist on Nostr. This list of categories is also not exhaustive. There are many more categories that exist. But as you can see here, we're not only talking about social media. We have long-form content, music, wallets, marketplaces, streaming, media hosting, all kinds of other stuff that's not even on this list. Pablo, for example, wrote a Wikipedia competitor last week and published it. This is a whole new category. It's not even on my list. The level of engagement and the level of participation by developers is astounding. There are 34 relay implementations. There are many, like 20, I counted 28 libraries that I can count. So the old adage about there being so much activity, developer activity on Nostr is actually true. I'm full-time in Nostr. I can't keep up with everything that's being done. I'm full-time on Nostr and I'm Pablo's friend, and I can't keep up with what Pablo is doing. Never mind, everyone else. So this is what happens when you have a truly permissionless protocol that's simple enough that's actually catching on. Because it's not about the technology necessarily. It's not about how slick your protocol definition is, etc. It's about the network. It's about the network of humans that have actually signed up and starting to participate in this and are making all of this possible. So let's compare Nostr to the legacy web. This is a fun little kind of table of comparison. It's not exhaustive by any means, but I just selected some legacy apps, Twitter, X, Venmo, Substack, all of these other ones. What's interesting about all of them is that each of them has its own user base and its own social graph that's closed. It's a silo that's there competing against all the other silos. So it's literally like these a bunch of social media companies are competing against each other. A bunch of payment networks are also competing against each other. Remember Clubhouse? What happened there? They were competing with Twitter and so forth. Another interesting example is Substack. So what happened with Substack? They're the service where people can create accounts and get users to sign up to pay for their content. And the top of their funnel for the longest time was Twitter. Most users were coming to Substack by finding Twitter, like the tweets of people talking and linking to some articles and so forth. And then Elon took over Twitter and decided to stop linking to Substack, or to substantially reduce the amount of linking that he was doing. Of course, Twitter being a centralized platform, he could totally do that. He can wake up one morning and just say, no more traffic for you, Substack. So how did Substack react? Well, they created their own Twitter. They figured that they were already big enough in terms of the user base of people who use Substack for reading content and so forth, and they attempted to create their own microblogging platform, which of course didn't work too well. So compare all of that on the right-hand side of this table. You have the counterparts to all of these closed legacy apps. You have the Nostr counterparts that are doing all of these same things, but they all share the same network. every user that's brought in by Damos is contributing to the network effects of the entire network, of the entire ecosystem, of all of the apps and services that exist there. So where all of the legacy apps are competitive, all of the Nostr apps are basically additive to each other. It's not Primal versus Damos, it's Primal and Damos and Highlighter and a ton of other apps. So that's a profound difference between Nostr. That's what it means to have an open network with an open social graph. So let's look at some examples of early Nostr monetization. Nostr Build is a company that identified a need in the marketplace where early Nostr clients who had no capabilities or didn't want to include the capabilities of hosting user media. Just to be able to upload your profile photo, it has to go somewhere. Nostr protocol itself will not do that for you. That has to be hosted somewhere. All of the media that you upload in your notes also needs to be hosted somewhere. So these guys just identified the market need, stood up a service, and I think it's by far the most popular media hosting service on Nostr. They just did it because they saw the market need. There was no coordination. They just stood it up and people started using it. What's interesting is that they're charging in sats. So everything is monetized that way. They have a few tiers, and you can buy yearly plans with them. The next one up is Damos. So Damos is the OG iOS client, definitely still the most popular iOS client today. The Damos team invented many of the cool things that we are using today on Nostr, including Zaps. So that's another example where one invention by one team benefited the entire ecosystem of Nostr. So we're all being able to benefit from that today. So they recently introduced their paid tier. They're calling it Damos Purple. For 15,000 sats per month, you get some premium features and you get to show that you're a supporter of the project. The premium feature they have today is automatic translations within the app. When the content comes in with different languages, it gets automatically translated. And they are announcing that there will be more premium features in the pipeline coming forward. So that's a great example of an early client starting to monetize, and whoever is using Damos on a daily basis should consider supporting the project. And then in reaction to that, Amethyst, the OG Android client, and probably the most successful Android client still today, Vitor posted in response to Damos Purple. I'm not going to read the whole note, but essentially he said, okay, now everyone wants, Amethyst Purple. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do things my way. Currently, we monetize, we kind of split all the zaps for all of the release notes. We split it to all the contributors who contributed to this particular release. So he wanted to lean into that and to make all monetization specific to every upcoming release, so that the incentive structure for his team is such that they must continue shipping and they only get paid if they ship. That's interesting. He came up with his own thing there. Would have been my first choice, but he's running that project and he likes to do things his way. And the benefit that we're all going to have is that we're all going to get to see what happens when something different is tried, which is, by the way, one of the biggest strengths of Nostr. The amount of experimentation in the entire field is staggering, and we'll see not only unique products and unique features as a result of that, but also unique monetization kind of approaches, some of which might surprise us in how well they work. Zapstream is another great project. It's at the high level, it's competing with Twitch as a legacy competitor. So you can create streams, video streams, and then there's like a public chat going on, and then you can zap the author of the stream and kind of send value around. It's extremely cool. Everyone should try it out, and it's becoming very popular. I think it's one of the most popular Nostr apps out there. Kieran, the creator of the service, is monetizing over Zap splits there. Highlighter, speaking of Pablo and his projects, Highlighter is one of the Nostr projects that I'm most bullish about. The idea is to essentially at the high level compete with the likes of Substack and Patreon, but to do so on an open protocol. So Highlighter, everyone should check it out at highlighter.com, allows content creators to create paid tiers and to monetize their content just like they would do on Substack. But unlike Substack, this is all happening on an open protocol where the way Pablo is defining these paid tiers is enabling all Nostr clients to tap into all of this metadata and participate in the system that Pablo created. Therefore, these creators are not Highlighter creators; they are Nostr creators. And Primal could decide to include long-form content and plug into all the network of value that Pablo has created here. Oh, look what we have here. An AI client, an AI system built on top of Nostr. In such a short amount of time, we have all of this being developed and launched and up and working. You have to understand, like a year ago, Nostr was in its stone age. It was hard to create an account. Most people who encountered Nostr a year ago deemed it like unusable. But look at all the stuff that we have now. So everyone should check out unleash.chat. We're out there competing with the likes of OpenAI and Grok. And it's like this system is based on open source models where you can create accounts and you can train them using your own data, and then you can kind of utilize the AI capabilities of this and pay on a per query basis. And it understands Nostr. So you probably can't see this is like the screenshots. Maybe the text is too small, but basically I asked Unleash Chat, hey, what's Lynn saying on Nostr lately? And it knew that I meant Lynn Alden, and it gave me a summary of the notes that she posted lately, and then a bunch of links to her notes. So all of this is working. It's happening now. Everyone should check it out. And the way that Unleash Chat is monetizing is through a paid consumer tier. So it's a paid product. You pay sats to use AI, and you get to choose the models, the open source models that are going to be used, and you get to train it with your own data. And in addition to that, Unleashed is coming up with an API where you can also pay per API call, and there's a ton of stuff that can happen there. So essentially, they're renting their infrastructure and this kind of AI know-how to people who need these types of services. All of this is pure magic. Like putting all of these types of elements together in such an open way. I think the next year, if you think like what was developed, let's say in the last 12 months compared to where we were, the Stone Age that I mentioned, next year is going to be insane. So the 40% of people out there who didn't raise their hand, who are maybe sleeping on Nostr, take another look. Take a look at any of these clients, and I think you might be surprised at how well things are going. Okay, so I'm from Primal, so might as well say a few things about Primal. What we do is we at the high level, we're a social media client with a built-in wallet, and both the wallet and the social media client are full-time jobs. So our goal is to have the best spending wallet for Bitcoin and to have the best social media client kind of fused into one app in a way that makes a ton of new interesting UX capabilities kind of possible. So you can try it out and see how that works for you. We're competing with X and Venmo, but we're doing so on open networks. And we don't monetize yet, but we have some plans to do premium subscriptions as well as wallet zaps splits, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So a few conclusions here. The balance of power has changed forever when users started holding their keys to their speech. When the user is holding their own key for their online identity and all of the content that they publish and all of the content that they access and the social graph that they're part of, everything has changed. Because that means the user can pick up the key and go somewhere else. So if they don't like Primal or any of the client that they're using, they can just pick up and go somewhere else. So this dramatically changes the balance of power and the whole incentive structure of the web. Another interesting observation, if you look at the monetization methods here, is all the current monetization models that I've observed are utilizing Bitcoin. They don't have to, but every Nostr client who's monetizing today is using Bitcoin. Interesting. Another interesting observation is no advertising. Not a single client decided to monetize via advertising. Now, I'm sure that we will see some advertising in the future. I'm sure that there will be clients that choose to monetize. There are all kinds of, there's nothing to stop people from trying that. So I'm sure they will see that, but it's questionable their level of success via advertising is going to be questionable when the rest of the network is monetizing in a way that actually puts the user at the forefront and treats the user as the customer. So that's going to be interesting to observe going forward. And the final thought I'll leave you with is experimentation. Like I said, the level of experimentation that we're seeing on Nostr, both in terms of product features, technologies, and monetization capabilities and monetization approaches is staggering. It's orders of magnitude higher than what centralized companies can do. Even the largest centralized companies with seemingly unlimited budgets are not capable of experimenting at such scale as thousands of small projects just going at it and every day and just surprising everybody, sometimes maybe including themselves, with how successful they are in different ways. So what we get to see, what we get to observe is all of this unfold, and we get to see what works, what doesn't, and things that work well will be copied by others and improved upon even more, and things that don't work will fall off, and this kind of wheel will keep turning, and I think the future we have ahead of us is glorious. Thank you.